Skilled worker visa in the UK is one of the most easier, safer and desired visa by the people who want to come in the UK and settle here, because it allows people to come in the UK on a job and get settled eventually in the UK for ILR and then of course citizenship in the future. However, to be careful, there are some limitations and restrictions on skilled worker visa that you need to be aware of, because you will be stuck in skilled worker visa for 5 years before you apply for your ILR and then of course your British citizenship. So after doing a bit of research, in this video I'll be telling you each and everything about restrictions, as to what sort of restrictions are applicable on skilled worker visa holders, and you need to be very careful of those restrictions because that can mess up your ILR application in the future if you messed up any of the visa restrictions and limitation here. Before deep diving in the video, a bit about myself. My name is KUMAR. I'm a chartered accountant. My channel has more than 500 videos settled into different playlists like immigration, careers, jobs, salary. Each and everything is sorted in the playlist, so definitely watch them and do share your thoughts in the video in the comments. So back to the topic, skilled worker visa restrictions. I will talk about 5 major things here. Number 1, continuous residence, which is very important because that would make sure you are eligible for your ILR 5 years down the line. So the requirement is you cannot be out of UK for more than 180 days in any rolling period of 12 months. So basically in any 12 months, if you start now, look at last 12 months. If you start next month, look at last 12 months. So essentially not more than 180 days out of country. Eventually the requirement is you have to be in UK for most of the time, and you should not be out of UK for more than 180 days in 12 months rolling period. And that includes your absences from UK for your work, for your tourism, anything else as well. There can be exceptions, but very limited, and you should not really take a chance in this case. So make sure you stay in UK if you're coming in UK for skilled worker visa. Second major restriction is on your secondary work or secondary employment. Basically, if you're coming to UK on skilled worker visa, you are brought into UK for a specific purpose to do that skilled worker visa job that you are sponsored for. That's your purpose for coming to the UK. So if you want to do a further work to earn more, you can definitely do a lot more with the same job. You can do overtime, or you can work in a similar sort of category, similar job code for up to 20 hours per week, or you can do some other supplementary jobs. There are some things allowed whereby UK has a shortage of labor and they want people. However, for a lot of roles, you are not allowed to do any further job. You are not allowed to earn further by doing those jobs. So there's a clear list on the Government of UK website, Home Office website. You must watch that. Actually, we have done the video recently where I talk about what sort of jobs skilled worker visa holders are allowed to do and what they are not allowed to do. So make sure you comply with that. And if you are doing that, then you need to make sure you are giving the tax inputs and each and everything correctly. That's another video I made earlier. I'll be putting the link of that video in the description of this video. So do watch that. But the point really is you are very limited in terms of different jobs you want to do. And a very good example is somebody who has a driving license in the UK want to do Uber deliveries or maybe Amazon deliveries. You are not allowed to do that on skilled worker visa because that's not something UK Home Office brings the people from abroad to do that job. It's definitely not a skilled job. Third one is NHS. Basically in the UK, NHS is the healthcare body which is free for all, basically everybody who is a resident on some sort of visa which makes them eligible to stay in UK. You are eligible for free NHS treatment, which includes your GP, your A&E treatment, urgent care, and a lot more things as well which are covered. However, there are a few things that are not covered for skilled worker visa. For example, treatments like fertility or IVF, all those things are not part of your visa. You are not allowed to get free NHS treatment. If you are in skilled worker visa, you will be required to pay for those treatments. So it's definitely few things are not part of NHS, even though you are giving your IHS surcharge. This is not allowed, and you can access those services when you are UK resident, UK citizen. Similarly, the cost of dental services or NHS prescriptions you have to pay for yourself. Same for everybody. It's not specific for skilled worker visa, but just to highlight, you have to pay them yourselves. Fourth and most important thing from my perspective is non-recourse to public funds. It's clearly written in your visa application letter once you receive that you are not allowed to access public funds, and it's actually written in the BRP as well. So what you mean by public funds is basically some sort of funds that government provides to the low income people or somebody who needs those funds. For example, if you are coming to the UK on skilled worker visa, you are brought into the UK for the purpose that you are going to do this job, so you are not expected to avail any of the government funds which are classified as public funds. That can include universal credits, tax credit, child benefits, maybe any other sort of benefits, any other housing benefits from government, something that's allowed only for people who don't have money. So you are not able to access a lot of public funds in skilled worker visa because you will be earning. That's what you are brought in the UK. However, there are some funds and some benefits which are not classified as public funds, and you need to be very careful of what is a public fund and what's not a public fund. For example, statutory sick pay is not a public fund. You are allowed that legally. Maybe if you are doing maternity or paternity leaves and getting payment for that, it's not a public fund. Everybody's allowed, even skilled worker visa holders. And similarly, at the same time, London Living Grant is a scheme which allowed for skilled worker visa holders as well. I got many friends going into that as well. Similarly, in other cities, Scotland as well. Similarly, in other cities, there are other schemes of similar nature. You are allowed to get into that. You can get a better housing and cheaper housing. Another example can be help to save ISA by government. You are allowed to get that. Similarly, if your salary is below a certain threshold, your partner is not earning, your husband or wife is not earning, then you can get some of the allowance actually to adjust in your salary as well. So there's a possibility some of these things are not public benefits. You can avail them, but you have to be careful of not getting into any public fund by mistake, because that can mess up your ILA application in the future. So be clear of public funds. And number 5, you are not eligible for state pension. It's quite clearly written on the government UK website that you are not eligible for UK state pension based on your skilled worker visa status in the UK at the time. So this was the list I could gather from my own experience of 5 years in the UK, and then of course researching it thoroughly. However, there can be some other restrictions or very subtle restrictions that you might have written on your actual application decision, or maybe somewhere you find down the line. However, these are common restrictions. You should be careful of not messing anything, because eventually that can mess up your ILA application down the line. Hopefully this helps. Thank you so much for watching.